Yo, what is up? So, today I'm gonna do DLSS 4 versus FSR 4 in Final Fantasy Rebirth at 1440p, but it's ultra wide. But I'm gonna do a comparison video because there is a few differences I've noticed, to be honest, and because I've literally been sort of playing it on the 4090, the 90 Sony XT the past 2 weeks. To have a good look at it and just enjoy playing the game. And it's mainly what I've thought. And Tim from Hardware Unboxed actually touched on it as well. So I'll load it up. I'll tell you as I go along. And I'm not gonna upload it to YouTube because I find their compression can just destroy the image of it. And then so it's better just me doing it on my desktop. So YouTube compression doesn't destroy any detail that I'm trying to look at. So what I've done it side by side. So you've got FSR 4 on the left, DLSS 4 on the right. So can we max that? Yeah. So this is the best way to do it, I think. So run through it here. Right, so what I've noticed on DLSS 4, if you're looking at just underneath Cloud's eyes here, there is just slightly more detail on the skin texture. You do find it on the clothes, it's just a bit sort of sharper on the clothes, just more finely detailed. But FSR 4 is doing a really good job. So it's literally very close, but that is the main thing I've noticed. I mean, this is at 1440p, so I think it's probably just doing at 4K. It does seem to get a bit better on FSR 4 with the detail, but this is DLSS 4 is really strong at just capturing that fine detail, like looking at the pores in the skin and stuff like that. So it's got a slight edge in that, I'd say, because that is because I was playing it the other night. So I've been playing it on the 97 XT, and then I've switched over to DLSS 4. And I've started thinking to myself, that's one thing, especially in the cutscenes, you do notice it. So, again, it's not a massive thing, but I did expect DLSS 4 to have a slight edge in some areas. And the other thing is edge stability. So it will be like sometimes around the sword. I'm pretty sure I'll see that in the end of this video because I did notice it. It's just like around objects and all that. It will be slightly more unstable than FSR 4, but that's something they've been working on. I mean, again, you can see the detail in FSR 4, but it's slightly more blurred out sort of thing. So I don't know if they're trying to sort of finally tune it, because it did have some issues with edge stability, the aliasing around swords, objects, and all that. And in Spider-Man, when you traveling about, swinging about, that was the issue in the first update, and then they done another update AMD and it fixed that. So I don't know if they're sort of trying to finally tune that, so they're adding slightly more blur in places, and that sort of made the detail come out a bit less. I don't know if that's why, but again, it's very impressive. I mean, for immature technology, I mean that's the main difference I'm seeing. I'm not seeing any other difference. Hair quality looks the same. That, I mean, I think that's improved on DLSS 4, the hair, because that looks over sharpened, but they're obviously doing updates as well, so that's interesting. So we go along a bit. I mean, so I've had to clip it a bit sometimes because I've found the 4090 loads up stuff quicker, so I've had to, but you won't notice it. It was just a bit time consuming trying to line them up, because when you come to the loading sequence, it would sort of go a bit ahead of the 97 XT. But yeah, there's just a bit more detail there. Again, when you record, it don't come out as great even before YouTube, but you should be able to see stuff like how it's a bit more pronounced on DLSS 4. That's the only slight difference I'm noticing. Apart from that, it's very close. So I've got it lined up pretty well. It should be a good video, to be honest. But that is one thing I've noticed just in cutscenes, stuff like that. Like if you look at it, it's just a bit more blurry on FSR 4. And it's just more pronounced and sharper on DLSS 4 here. Everything else looks pretty similar. So again, I think AMD are just trying to finely tune their technology, and that will get better in future updates. I mean, at 1440p, I think you'll notice it more, but at 4K, you find that FSR 4 will come out a bit more with a texture detail. Because obviously it's a lower resolution at 1440p, but it's really good. I've got to say, I'm not going to lie, that DLSS 4, and that looks more similar there. But there's definitely parts of the game where I'm thinking, yeah, that looks sort of a slightly higher sort of resolution at times on DLSS 4. Just because of the pixel density and the actual... but it's so damn close, to be honest, that you're just picking O's in it, really. But I've got to point out the differences I've seen to give you a good comparison.
Or rather, my creation. The crowning glory of Professor Gas.
Just rewind that a bit.
Resulted in my conception.
I mean, that.
Or rather.
Yeah, so it's just slightly around the eyes. Seems to be just a bit more blurry on FSR 4. So I think they need to probably just fix that in the future updates. Just say it, because if you're looking at clothes, stuff like that, you will notice a slight difference. Again, this isn't an official implementation. This is using Optiscaler. So once they actually get into Adrenaline, it might look better, slightly better with that. So maybe it's that. I mean, in other games I've seen FSR 4 looking better than DLSS in terms of that. So, and that looks pretty. They both look brilliant, to be honest. But there is a slight edge on the DLSS 4. So you might see it a bit there. And that is actually, so it's just a slightly more detail in DLSS 4, but then it was literally not much in it, if I'm being honest. There's not too much in it at all. There it looks pretty close, to be honest. There's just slightly more detail on DLSS 4, that's what I'm finding. So for it to be this good already, FSR 4 is really impressive for me. It's immature technology. I mean, both of them look to be murdering DLSS 3 now.
I should go.
In terms of edge stability, I haven't seen nothing bad yet on the FSR 4, really.
Hey, hold on.
So on DLSS 4, it's just going to be slightly cleaner on objects and stuff like that, but nothing dramatically bad on FSR 4 at all. You'll just notice it in certain times where the aliasing will run slightly. If you're just gaming on FSR 4, you wouldn't even think. It's just because I've got both the technologies myself that I'm able to compare it and sort of pick O's in it. Because that's what you got to do, really, just to tell you what the differences are.
Maybe I could have saved the village.
Yeah, I did forget to take the mods off, but I didn't. I wasn't going to do it again. So people will have to suffer that, unfortunately. But
What?
yeah, there's just a slightly bit more detail in the face of Cloud.
Hey, you! Get in there! The villagers need your help!
I've had to cut it a few times just to so it keeps up with the DLSS feed. I would have 4090 because it will just the loading scenes and stuff like that. It will fall slightly behind a couple of seconds because probably it's got more video memory and it is a faster card, 4090. So I've had to do that, but I've lined it up pretty well. So just so we can have a look. I was looking at the fire, and that seems to be pretty much very similar. But I haven't actually watched this back myself, so I might see something different. Now I've got it both the side by side comparisons in front of me. I'd say that looks pretty much very similar. And you're looking at the burning wood. If anything, there's just going to be slightly more detail in DLSS 4. He's very sharp. I mean, I do like a sharper image, but I've found in some games like Kingdom Come Deliverance where it's too very overly sharp, and I've had to turn the sharpness down. Whereas the FSR 4 looks really good in Kingdom Come Deliverance. That could be the case. It is going to be very dependent on the game you play on. I think there's gonna. I mean, the only bad thing about this game on DLSS 4 I've seen now is those white speckles sometimes in cutscenes over the hair, and that is quite off-putting. So, and I haven't seen that on FSR 4 at all. So there's good and bad things really. In terms of texture detail, edge stability, there's definitely a slight edge with a DLSS 4. Well, I do expect that to be better than FSR 4 anyway, because how long has DLSS been in development? So they've had plenty more time to work on it. So you can't expect everything really. You can see how close it is, FSR 4 and DLSS 4. When you're looking back to FSR 3, you could see the difference straight away on that. When you compared it to DLSS 3, it was as Tim from Hardware Unboxed said, it was disgusting image quality at times with in certain games because of the hair quality. For me, it was just fizzling too much. But it's pretty much like for like most of the time I'm finding on there. Slightly out of sync, but I do cut it. It's very time consuming because I just found that 4090, as I said, it would just load slightly quicker. So that was a bit annoying, but I just got on with it. So again, there's not. If anything, it's just texture detail in gloves, clothing. These slightly better on DLSS 4.
Don't worry, I got you. Come on.
I think the edge stability on FSR 4 in this game is pretty good, to be honest. Yeah, on this bit I do have to cut it slightly, but I'll speed it. I'll just cut it again, and then because I've just found, probably because I'm getting more FPS on the 4090, I'm able to put my commands in quicker. That's another thing. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I think if anything, if we pause it here, it's just a bit sharper and more pronounced there. But there's nothing wrong with it. Again, you literally pick a nose. I'm excited to see in the next update actually with FSR 4. So that'd be FSR 4 4.0.3. So I've cut it so it's more in sync now. There's one difference I noticed here. Just looking at the sheriff's spear there. There's not much in it. So let's see if we can yeah, so it's just slightly more blurry there, and it's a lot sharper there. So that looks really good. Just a slight edge again on the poor textures, but there's literally not much in it. I mean, most people wouldn't notice it if I'm being honest. There's really not much in it at all, really. You do notice it more in the game as well. So when you're playing a game, because recordings never give you the best detail, but you can see it definitely from what I've seen. I've played both of them enough that to know the differences.
I'm coming.
So it's definitely a bigger change to when FSR 4 used to be, FSR 3 I mean, used to be so far behind DLSS 3, and now look at it. Yeah, so I think there's just slightly more texture detail in the skin. But there it looks really good on both of them there. But there is definitely in certain scenes where I've noticed it.
I followed Sephiroth all the way back to the reactor.
Dad and I had gone there to hide. When Sephiroth showed up, Dad decided that he was going to confront him. Dad. It was Sephiroth.
So in some scenes you can hardly tell the difference really, which is good. And then they look pretty much like for like. It is darker, so that's probably why. But so in the lighter scenes, I've definitely noticed that it's mainly on the characters. So here you probably will notice it on the stairs as Tifa's going up. Just only a slight bit of instability there compared to DLSS. But again, you literally pick a nose in it. You literally are.
Mother, I have come for you.
It's impressive how both of them are doing so well at 1440p, to be honest. Again, it's just a slightly. It's not even a proper flicker, but there's a little bit of flicker slightly, and there's not on DLSS. So in terms of edge stability, as I said, it can be a bit worse on FSR 4, but it's not enough to bother. It wouldn't bother me much, but if I'm comparing the two, I've got to say DLSS 4 does have a slight edge on it. Not seeing any difference here in terms of the character. Either. I haven't seen any ghosting or anything, so that's good. I mean, I could easily play it on either one, to be honest. If I didn't have the NVIDIA, I'd easily play it on FSR 4. Seeing how good it is. So
You promised you'd save me. I was
again, very similar there.
trapped.
I wouldn't be able to tell a difference in the. It's only certain scenes you do notice it. Just ridiculous how close it is to DLSS 4. Amazing, really.
Here I am, your son. Mother, together we will reclaim our world. And I know exactly how we can do that.
So again, it's just a bit more. So now it's a bit lighter. You can see it. It's just a bit more detail. It's just a bit more pronounced in Sephiroth's face around the nose on his forehead. But you can still see it on FSR 4. But it's just slightly more blurry. That's what it looks like. And that's what I was seeing in the game. So it's just a fine detail, really. That's the only difference I'm seeing.
The promised land.
And that looks virtually the same there.
Mother, they have come again. The ones who robbed you of the planet.
And this is a million times better than DLSS 3, DLSS 4. So it is impressive.
But there's no need to be sad, Mother. Because I'm here for you. Now and forever.
And the air quality there looks pretty much the same to me. So there it's just shimmering a bit more, not shimmering, but sort of a little flicker on the eyebrows, and it's not there. It's a lot more stable. Let's have a look. That is one thing I did notice when I was playing it. There's just slightly less stability on the eyebrow there. Apart from that, looks pretty much the same.
You killed my mom.
On a so
You killed Tifa. My village. My home.
They were mine by right. This planet too.
so
For
I think Nvidia just needs to sort that white sort of noise over. What I've seen in this game, there's some artifacts that can happen with the disillusion.
Whoever the hell you
That's the main gripe I've got with DLSS 4 in this game. That I mean, the air quality seems to have improved because it looked very bloody sharp when I first started playing Rebirth, and I didn't like that. But now it seems to have sorted itself out. So because Nvidia will release driver updates much like AMD, and then you can update it to the latest model in Nvidia app. So they're doing improvements. So you got to keep up with it really, and keep checking it out. I mean, texture detail looks good there on FSR 4. Yeah, so it's just a bit more detail. So this is where you see it more. See, there's the poor detail there. There's not as much. You can hardly see it there. But on DLSS 4 you can see it, all the pore density. So that's the main thing. So that's when I was thinking, oh, that's different. So in Cloud's face on here, I don't know if the AI it's all learning how to do that still with faces sometimes. So it's just a bit more bland on FSR 4. Not that it looks bad, it just looks different. So that's the main thing I'm seeing. So there's definitely more detail there. So there is poor detail on the skin, but it's just not as visible on there as it is on DLSS 4. So I found that quite interesting. Hair quality looks pretty much the same to me, which is good. I've noticed it on Barrett,
It was all
other
over the
characters
news.
as well.
I remember watching it with my mom. They
I've
said
noticed
they
it
were
on
listed
Aerith.
during the training exercise.
Again, there's just a bit more texture detail if you're looking at the pores on her face and stuff like that.
But then the story changed. A couple days later, they started reporting that he was killed in action. Yeah, that was it.
The news outlets are nothing but Shinra mouthpieces.
And in the distance, I'd say it's just a bit slightly more blurry when you looking at characters in the distance, whereas on DLSS4 it's more sharper. So it's just stuff like that, really. I mean, it's literally not gonna be noticeable to most people. For it to be as good as it is now, as I keep saying, is really good from AMD have done a really good job on it, and that they will be improving it on updates. I'm pretty sure. So I don't know when this FSR 4.3. I'm just going to call it 4.3. I'm going to say 0 all the time, but hopefully that comes out soon. Then I can have another look at this game and just see what's changed on it. So it's definitely a thing I'm seeing.
After 5 years, doing who knows what.
Because he wants to finish what he started.
You can see it there slightly. Again, it's just
He wants to
the
reclaim his birthright.
the pristineness of the DLSS sword, that
With Genova at his
texture
side.
on the faces,
After 5 years?
just slightly better.
Not to sound like a broken record, but it's really bothering
But then
me.
it's so good on FSR 4 as well that there you can hardly tell the difference.
Well, what's bothering me is all this Genova
So it's just trying to. This is what you got to do really, just to see a difference, because it is interesting to look at the differences. Not that it's bad on either of them at all.
Guess the
It's,
travel or something really did a number on my
I thought it'd be a
brain.
decent video. I mean, this could be the case in other games where
Let me take a
I've
look.
seen a little more detail here and there,
Wow.
bit more stable than other stuff like
Let's get you back
objects,
to the room.
telephone lines, stuff like that. But the aliasing will be slightly better on the DLSS 4. Well, this is what Tim from Hardware Unboxed said. So it's pretty much lining up with what I've seen, to be fair. That's why I do trust a lot of his videos from Hardware Unboxed. He's really good at just looking at every single detail you can find, making you aware of it.
Hey, Aerith? You awake? Barely. Why? Was wondering, what's Cloud been doing these past 5
Yeah,
years?
it's just the main thing I'm noticing on the
Any,
on the characters
reason
themselves.
me this? Just had a
Just a
feeling.
slight edge on DLSS 4.
Probably did at one point. All that stuff was taken
I
from
mean,
me, though.
you'd think it'd be a lot worse, wouldn't you, with FSR 4, but
Maybe
it's not.
erased?
It's totally surprised me how good it is already,
Like
FSR 4.
whispers? Yeah.
I didn't even expect it to beat DLSS 3 when it first came out,
Maybe
FSR
that's
4.
why.
Now it's literally
Why not?
trading blows with DLSS 4 already. So for me, it is a positive.
This is gonna sound
That's the
crazy.
competition. So if AMD
As far as
can
I know,
continue to improve
Cloud was
this,
never in Nibelheim 5
get
years ago.
if it could literally match DLSS 4 in every area, then that would be unbelievable. I think by the time UDNA comes out, it's got to be on the level. That looks pretty good on both of them there, with the pixel density.
Cloud, you up?
So I had to slightly cut again to
Sorry,
get them to line up.
did I wake you?
Nope.
But it's pretty much in sync.
Oh, it's nothing really.
Again, if you don't like
Something I
nudity
need
and
to
stuff
ask you.
like that, I wouldn't recommend watching this. But
Can we talk?
Sure.
I just done the video and I thought I'm not going to do it all again because I forgot to turn the mods off. So unfortunately, people will have to suffer that. But in terms of image quality, if you just focus on that, is pretty a worthwhile watch, really. I think
Killed her. So, who is she?
you can literally see how well it's doing against DLSS 4.
Is she?
So again, I've had to cut it because I did take a bit longer, I think, on 97X2 here. So I cut it there, now it's all in sync again. Very time consuming, but I thought it'd be worth it just to have a look and see for myself, because it is hard sort of going back and forth. Now I've got them both in front of me, I can have a better look. But as I said, when I was playing it, I was just seeing little differences here and there with the detail of the character.
5 years ago.
And again, it's more detailed there between his nose and eye, and it's just slight. There's detail there, but it's just slightly less pronounced. So
At the reactor.
whether that bother anyone, it don't particularly bother me. Obviously, it's better to have more detail on the character. I mean, I do like the extra detail. So
Figured it was too late.
I mean, if I didn't have a DLSS 4, I wouldn't be bothered about it. But if you got the option to use it, then you probably think, ah, yeah, you are getting more detail.
Wait,
But
what are you implying?
it's not a biggie. It's just a slight edge for me. So at the end of the day, it will depend on what people prefer.
I can't believe I'm having this conversation with you.
There's nothing wrong with it at all, FSR 4 in this.
Here, look.
It's not. Maybe the official implementation will be better if they get their finger out AMD, because I'm waiting for them to get out in FSR. I want them to get in Final Fantasy 16 Rebirth. They're putting it in other games, but they're not putting it in the games I want to play, which is slightly annoying. But Optiscaler does make a massive difference putting it into the game. It's pretty much doing the same thing, but I do think maybe the official implementation could maybe do a better job on this.
You know I can't tell you that.
But we'll see in the future. I mean, surely it is a Sony game, isn't it? Well, it's not. It's like a timed exclusive, really. Final Fantasy. It always comes out on PC, but it's just usually comes out on PlayStation first. I think that's it. Anyway, so that's pretty much it. Again, the main issue with DLSS 4 is those white artifacts that I don't like. They don't always come up, but I've noticed in cutscenes, which is annoying. I haven't seen that on FSR 4, so that's doing better out there. But again, I mean, for it, it's literally so close. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.